Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. It has been 10 years that I've not been to Lahore, and I was itching to go to Lahore. And lately, one of my friends, my elder brother, one of my mentors, Lieutenant Commander Azam Khan Sahab, he invited me over to come to Lahore and deliver a session on technical thinking and critical thinking at the Pakistan Naval War College, Lahore. I was so excited to go back and visit Lahore after these 10 years. So I decided to take my family along with me. We drove from here, that is Islamabad, to Lahore, and it takes about 4 hours or so to get to Lahore. Let me give you a brief introduction of Lahore, especially for my overseas friends. Lahore is the capital of the Pakistan province of Punjab. It is Pakistan's second largest city after Karachi and is the 26th largest city in the world. Lahore is the largest city of Punjab. It is one of Pakistan's wealthiest cities with an estimated GDP of $84 billion as of 2019. It is the largest city and recent historic modern-day cultural center of the wider Punjab region and is one of the Pakistan's most socially liberal, progressive and cosmopolitan cities, of course after Karachi. Lahore's origins reach into antiquity. The city has been controlled by numerous empires throughout the course of its history, including the Hindu Shahis, Ghaznavids, Ghurids, and the Delhi Sultanate by the medieval era. Lahore reached the height of its splendor under the Mughal Empire between the late 16th and early 18th century and served as its capital city for many years. The city was captured by the forces of Sharid ruler Nadir Shah in 1739, then fell into a period of decay while being contested between the Afghans and the Sikhs. Lahore eventually became the capital of the Sikh Empire in the early 19th century and regained some of its lost grandeur. Lahore was then annexed to the British Empire and made capital of the British Punjab. Lahore was central to the independence movements of both India and Pakistan, with the city being the site of both the Declaration of Indian Independence and the resolution calling for the establishment of Pakistan. It experienced some of the worst noting during the partition period preceding Pakistan's independence. Following the success of the Pakistan movement and subsequent partition of British India in 1947, Lahore was declared the capital of Pakistan's Punjab province. Lahore exerts a strong cultural influence over Pakistan. It is a UNESCO City of Literature and a major center for Pakistan's publishing industry. Lahore remains the foremost center of Pakistan's literary scene. The city is also a major center of education in Pakistan, with some of Pakistan's leading universities based in the city. For many years, Lahore was home to Pakistan's film industry, Lollywood, though in recent years most filming has shifted to Karachi. Lahore is a major center of Qawwali music. The city also hosts much of Pakistan's tourist industry, with major attractions including the Walled City, the famous Badshahi and Wazir Khan Mosque, as well as several Sikh and Sufi shrines. Lahore is also home to the Lahore Fort and Shalimar Gardens, both of which are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So on the 28th of August, which was a Sunday, we decided to leave for Lahore in the afternoon. After having our lunch at about 4 or so, we left for Lahore. We took the motorway and it took us about 4 hours to get there. So visiting Lahore and not going to the Datha Darbar is a sin in itself, as far as I'm concerned. So I had to squeeze in my time and visit Data Darbar prior to starting my lectures and my sessions. So I decided to go there and visit the place and offer my salams to Data Darbar on the day that we reached Lahore, and then so that I could comfortably start my sessions on the next day, because timing was pretty short and I somehow knew that I would not be able to visit the Data Darbar if I tried to squeeze it in the 2 or 3 days that I was there for training. So let me give you a brief rundown of what Data Darbar is all about. Data Darbar is located in the city of Lahore, of course, which is the largest Sufi shrine in South Asia. It was built to house the remains of Ali Hajweri, commonly known as Data Ganj Bakhsh, a Sufi saint from Ghazni in present-day Afghanistan, who is believed to have lived on the site in the 11th century. The site is considered to be the most sacred place in Lahore and attracts up to 1 million visitors to its annual Urs festival. Data Darbar is located in the center of Old City of Lahore. Surrounding it are Lower Mall Road, Bhati Gate, Gawal Mandi and Karbala Gamesha. The shrine was originally established as a simple grave next to the mosque which Ali Hajweri had built on the outskirts of Lahore in the 11th century. By the 13th century, the belief that the spiritual powers of great Sufi saints were attached to their burial sites was widespread in the Muslim world, and so a larger shrine was built to commemorate the burial site of Hajweri during the Mughal period. The shrine complex was expanded in the 19th century and Hajweri's mosque was rebuilt. The shrine came under Pakistani government control as part of the Awqaf Ordinance of 1960, with the official aim of preventing shrine caretakers throughout the country from financially exploiting devotees. The shrine was greatly expanded in the 80s under the rule of military dictator Ziaul Haq, during which time the shrine became the largest in South Asia. Offices for NGOs, a library, a madrasa, a police station, car park, and offices were all added under this regime. Designated spaces for musical performances and new free kitchen were also added during that time. New markets have emerged around the site since its massive expansion. Since 1965, the Mehfil-e-Sama, a 2-day Qawwali music festival, had been held adjacent to the shrine, which in 1992 shifted to a nearby school. Now let's talk about the architecture of the shrine. The shrine of Hajweri is housed in a Mughal-era tomb crafted of carved white marble. The tomb is surrounded by a massive marble courtyard, while a new educational institution at the shrine complex utilizes modernist architecture. The site is considered to be the most sacred place in Lahore. The shrine has emerged a major economic, political and social center in Lahore and is one of the only places in Lahore where the extremely rich and the extremely poor share space together. It is widely believed among devotees that the saint interred at the shrine is the supreme authority over all Sufi saints in the Indian subcontinent, and that no new Sufi saint could immigrate to the subcontinent without obtaining permission from the spirit of Hajweri. Following the establishment of a shrine dedicated to Hajweri, his tomb was visited by Muslims and non-Muslims in search of his blessings. Illustrious figures such as Baba Farid Ganjshakar, Moinuddin Chishti Rahmatullah Alayh from Ajmer Sharif, Nizamuddin Aulia from Delhi, Dara Shikoh, the brother of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, and Allama Muhammad Iqbal all paid obeisance to the shrine and pledged allegiance to Hajweri. Hajveri's teachings were critical of practices associated with South Asian Islam, such as the use of drugs and dancing. He also taught that Sufi saints were themselves still obliged to the demands of Islam, and so is revered by reformist Muslims who are critical of Sufi practice, as well as traditionalist Muslims who revere Sufi shrines. Qawwali performances are regularly held at the shrine. On special occasions, the shrine is decorated with lights. Dinner is prepared for thousands of visitors who also partake in dance while musicians play Sufi music for hours. At the boundary of the shrine, Muslim faithfuls recite the Quran and pay tributes to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we went to the shrine, myself and my son Mohsin, who was accompanying me, while my wife and daughter stayed at the car park, and we visited the shrine, offered our prayers, and we rushed back to the car so that we can be on time to reach the Naval War College. Once we reached the college, we were welcomed by the coordinator there. We were put in our rooms and we were served with an amazing dinner. And since we were tired, so we just decided to rest, and off we went to sleep. That is how the first day came to an end. The next morning I woke up early, offered my Fajr prayer, and after having my breakfast, got ready for my session on analytical thinking at the Naval War College, whereby officers from the Air Force, Navy and the Armed Forces had gathered to attend the session. It was a wonderful 3-hour session, and after the session I came back and had lunch, a quick lunch with the family, and got ready to go and visit the Superior University, whereby another of my session was organized there. Now, Superior University is at one far corner of Lahore, close to Riven Road, whereby I was supposed to deliver a lecture on the 40 Rules of Love. Now this lecture, this session, the 40 Rules of Love, are the rules which were taught by Shams Tabriz to his student Mevlana Rum, and they became very popular, especially after Elif Shafak, the writer from Turkey, wrote about them. So she introduced the 40 Rules of Love to the Western world, in the Western society. So for the last 6 years I've been speaking on this subject here in Islamabad. I've done 3 sessions on these rules, and this time around I was invited at the Superior University in Lahore to go speak my heart out on the 40 rules. I had a wonderful session. There were over 40 people in attendance, and I had to wrap the session in 2.5 hours or so, because the place was kind of far away, and since it being a university, the students had to leave through their buses, which had to leave on time because that place is a little far away from the city. Nevertheless, I completed the session, had a good cup of tea and a chat with some of the fans who stood beyond the session, and then I sort of got done with them, and I rushed back to our guest house. As soon as I came back from my session on the 40 rules, I realized that it was raining cats and dogs. It had rained a lot, and I was invited by my host for a dinner whereby we were supposed to go to a Chinese restaurant called the Yum. They serve amazing food, and we enjoyed the evening with the host, Anakali and his colleague, actually 2 colleagues, and my family, and we had a wonderful sumptuous dinner, and that's how the second day came to a close. On the 3rd day, that is the 30th of August, again I got up early, offered my Fajr prayers, and I got ready for my session on critical thinking this time. Again, it was a 3 hours session. It was attended by over 100 people, and it was well liked, alhamdulillah, and they all enjoyed the session, the participants, the audience. And just like always, I was sent off with a plaque from the War College. In the afternoon, our host, Lieutenant Commander Azam Khan Sahib, just like always, since I had been there twice on his previous calls, once in 2010, once in 2012. So this time around also we were invited to go and visit the Wagah border. Now, I have been to this Wagah border parade for at least 3 times in my life, but since my kids were pretty young when we went there, so I decided to go there again for their education, and they loved it. So let me just take a pause here and let me share as to what happened there, and so that you could enjoy precisely as to how the ceremony takes place.
Come और मुंह पर जंग उतारा जाए, आप इसके एहतराम में खामोश और बाज़ब खड़े हो जाए। पाकिस्तान
So we came back from the ceremony by 6:30 or so and had our evening cup of tea in the guest house and decided to stay and take a rest because so far things have been kind of tiring. So we stayed over and we had our early dinner in the guest house and off we went to sleep. Now I have been visiting Lahore since 1978, and slightly later I came to learn about a gentleman called Mia Mir, whose mausoleum is also in Lahore, but somehow I was not able to visit his tomb. So this time around I told myself that I should find time and I must go and visit Mia Mir's tomb. So on the fourth day, when we were supposed to return to Islamabad, myself and Mohsin, my younger son, we got up early and we decided to visit Mia Mir. Now let me tell you as to who Mia Mir was. Mia Mir was a friend of God-loving people, and he would shun worldly, selfish men, greedy amirs and ambitious nawabs who ran after fakirs to get their blessings. He is also called Baba Sai Mir Muhammad Sahib. He was popularly known as Mia Mir. He was a famous Sufi Muslim saint who resided in Lahore, specifically in the town of Dharampura in present-day Pakistan. He was a direct descendant of Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab. He belonged to the Qadri order of Sufism. He is famous for being a spiritual instructor of Dara Shikoh, the brother of Aurangzeb Alamgir, one of the Mughal kings, the eldest son of Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. He is identified as a founder of the Mia Khail branch of the Qadri order. His younger sister, Bibi Jamal Khatun, was a disciple of his and a notable Sufi saint in her own right. Mia Mir was a friend of God-loving people, and to stop such people from coming to see him, Mia Mir posted his murids at the gate of his house. Once Jahangir, the Mughal emperor, with all his retinue, came to pay homage to the great fakir. He came with all the pomp and show that befitted an emperor. Mia Mir's sentinels, however, stopped the emperor at the gate and requested him to wait until their master had given permission to enter. Jahangir felt slighted. He was infuriated. No one had ever dared delay or question his entry to any place in his kingdom. Yet he controlled his temper and composed himself. He waited for permission. After a while, he was ushered into Mia Mir's presence. Unable to hide his wounded vanity, Jahangir, as soon as he entered, told Mia Mir in Persian, "Badar-e Dervish darbana na boyad." On the doorstep of a fakir, there should be no sentry. The reply from Mia Mir was historic. He said, "Baboyad ke sage dunya na oyad," so that selfish men may not enter. The emperor was embarrassed and asked for forgiveness. Then, with folded hands, Jahangir requested Mia Mir to pray for the success of the campaign which he intended to launch for the conquest of the Deccan. Meanwhile, a poor man entered and, bowing his head to Mia Mir, made an offering of a rupee before him. The Sufi asked the devotee to pick up the rupee and give it to the poorest, neediest person in the audience. The devotee went from one dervish to another, but none accepted the rupee. The devotee returned to Mia Mir with the rupee, saying, "Master, none of the dervishes will accept the rupee. None is in need, it seems." "Go and give this rupee to him," said the fakir, pointing towards Jahangir. "He is the poorest and most needy of the lot. Not content with the big kingdom, he covets the kingdom of the Deccan. For that he has come all the way from Delhi to beg. His hunger is like fire that burns all the more furiously with more wood. It has made him needy, greedy, and grim. Go and give the rupee to him." So myself and my son Mohsin, we visited Mia Mir's tomb, and I must tell you, there was so much peace and serenity at this place, which is usually not found, especially at these tombs, because there's a huge rush of people visiting these holy places. But I don't have words to express as to what peace and serenity I could feel at this tomb. Now, as Mohsin and myself were exiting from the tomb of Mia Mir, incidentally, one of the disciples told us that we should also visit the tomb of Nadira Banu Begum. Now, we didn't know who was Nadira Begum, and surprisingly, when I talked to Lahoris, most of them did not know who was Nadira Banu Begum. And she is buried at walking distance from the tomb of Mia Mir. She was one of the biggest disciples of Mia Mir. So let's see who is Nadira Banu Begum. Nadira Banu Begum was a Mughal princess and the wife of the crown prince Dara Shikoh, the eldest son and heir apparent of the Mughal emperor Shah Jahan. After Aurangzeb's rise to power, Dara Shikoh's immediate family and all of his supporters were in grave danger. Nadira died in 1659, a few months before her husband's execution, and was survived by 2 sons and a daughter. Nadira Banu Begum was born Mughal princess and was a daughter of Sultan Parvez Mirza, the second son of Emperor Jahangir from his wife Sahib Jamal Begum. Her mother, Jahan Banu Begum, was also a Mughal princess, being the daughter of Sultan Murad Mirza, the second son of Emperor Akbar. Nadira was a half cousin of her future husband Dara Shikoh. As a father, Sultan Parvez Mirza was older half brother of Dara's father, Shah Jahan. Confusing, right? Okay. Dara Shikoh's mother, Empress Mumtaz Mahal, died in 1631 while giving birth to her 14th child, Goharara Begum. After the Empress's death, the arrangements for the wedding between Dara Shikoh and Nadira Begum was halted as the Mughal Empire plunged into mourning and Shah Jahan was consumed in his grief. After much coaxing by many, including his favorite daughter Jahan Ara Begum, Shah Jahan resumed life as normal and let her oversee the remaining aspects of the wedding. Nadira married her half-cousin Dara Shikoh on 11th February 1633 at Agra amidst celebrations, pomp and grandeur. The nikah ceremony was performed after midnight. By all accounts, Nadira and Dara were both devoted to each other, and Dara is sometimes seen as even more devoted to Nadira than Shah Jahan was to Mumtaz Mahal. For unlike his father, Dara never contracted any other marriage. Nadira Begum was portrayed in the Mughal chronicles as being no less beautiful than her mother-in-law and remained loyal all her life to her husband. After visiting the tomb of Nadira Begum, I had planned to visit Bibi Pak Daman also during this trip. Now, Bibi Pak Daman is the mausoleum of Ruqayya bint Hazrat Ali, who was the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is located in Lahore, Punjab. Many of us don't know about this. So legend has it that it holds the graves of 6 ladies from Prophet Muhammad's household, Ahle al-Bayt. Ruqayya bint Ali ibn Abi Talib was a daughter of Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ruqayya bint Ali was also the sister of Al-Abbas ibn Ali and also the wife of Muslim ibn Aqil. Others are said to be the Muslim ibn Aqil's sister and daughters. It is said that these ladies came here after the event of the Battle of Karbala on the 10th day of the month of Muharram in 61 AH, which is after Hijri. Bibi Pak Daman, which means the chaste lady, is the collective name of the 6 ladies believed to interred at this mausoleum, though it is also mistakenly popular used to refer to the personage of Ruqayya bint Ali alone. They were among the women who brought Islam to South Asia, preaching and engaging in missionary activity in the environments of Lahore. Some scholars consider Ruqayya to have been the daughter of Sayyid Ahmad Tokhta. Bibi Pak Daman is located between Gadi Shahu and railway station area. The easiest way to go to the Bibi Pak Daman is from the Empress Road, and from there on you take the small road opposite the police lines and then the first left turn. Recently, Government of Pakistan is considering approval of the expansion of the Bibi Pak Daman's shrine. While we were visiting, we came to learn that usually males are not allowed inside to go and offer their salams, their prayers. So what they do is they stand outside and offer their salam. And that is precisely what we did. And even it was closed for ladies because it was already under renovation. So there was again a very peaceful and serene environment when we visited Bibi Pak Daman. So now the day was becoming hotter and we had to leave for Islamabad also. So we rushed back to the guest house and so that we could be with the family and we could have lunch with them. So we came back to the guest house, we took a little rest and we had our lunch. And since it was pretty hot outside, so we thought that we could sort of extend our stay till 4 p.m. at the guest house and then we could leave for Islamabad. But during this time, both my son Mohsin and my daughter Aisha, they said, Baba, although it's hot, but we would like to go and visit the Badshahi mosque at least. Aisha was pretty young, 10 years ago when we visited the mosque, and the fort. So, and I thought that I don't know when would I come back to Lahore, so I decided to take them to the Badshahi Mosque. So we left around 2 p.m. for the mosque. Now, what is the Badshahi Mosque? Let me explain that to you. The Badshahi Mosque or the Royal Mosque is a Mughal era congregational mosque in Lahore, capital of the Pakistani province of Punjab. The mosque is located west of the Lahore fort along the outskirts of the walled city of Lahore and is widely considered to be one of Lahore's most iconic landmarks. The Badshahi Mosque or the Masjid was constructed by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb between 1671 and 1673 and was the largest mosque in the world from 1673 to 1986. The mosque is an important example of Mughal architecture with an exterior that is decorated with carved red sandstone with marble inlay. It remains the largest mosque of the Mughal era period and is the third largest mosque in Pakistan. After the fall of the Mughal Empire, the mosque was used as a garrison by the British Empire and is now one of Pakistan's most iconic sites. It is located adjacent to the walled city of Lahore. The entrance to the mosque lies on the western side of the rectangular Hazuri Bagh and faces the famous Alamgiri Gate of the Lahore Fort, which is located on the eastern side of the Hazuri Bagh. The mosque is also located next to the Roshnai Gate, one of the largest 13 gates of Lahore, which is located to the southern side of Hazuri Bagh. Near the entrance of the mosque lies the tomb of Muhammad Iqbal, a poet widely revered in Pakistan as the founder of the Pakistan movement, which led to the creation of Pakistan as a homeland to the Muslims of British India. Also located near the mosque entrance is a tomb of Sir Sikandar Hayat Khan, who is credited for playing a major role in preservation and restoration of the mosque. The sixth Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb chose Lahore as the site for his new imperial mosque. Aurangzeb, unlike the previous emperors, was not a major patron of art and architecture and instead focused during much of his reign on various military conquests which added over 3 million square kilometers to the Mughal realm. The mosque was built to commemorate Aurangzeb's military campaigns in southern India, in particular against the Maratha king Shivaji. As a symbol of the mosque's importance, it was built directly across from the Lahore fort and its Alamgiri Gate, which was concurrently built by Aurangzeb during the construction of the mosque. On the way back from the Badshahi Masjid, we visited the Fort Road Food Street. The Fort Road Food Street, as it is famously called, or the Sarak-e-Khorak at the Roshnai Darwaza, is a food street located between Fort Road and the Roshnai Gate of the walled city in Lahore. The street was reconstructed and opened in 2012 as a tourist attraction by offering Lahori cuisine and views of the Badshahi Mosque. The street was inaugurated on 21st January 2012 by Hamza Shahbaz to replace the Gawal Mandi Food Street. In 2013, the walled city Lahore Authority took charge of the food street from the district government and gave it a major facelift in collaboration with the private sector. The Fort Road Food Street is known for traditional Lahori cuisines with a few of the Mughal era Badshahi Mosque. The building itself that the street is based on was built during the era of the Mughal Empire and the British rule. The age-old antique Havelis inside this mystifying walled city of Lahore have countless artifacts which are cherished by the people and tourists, and it can be said that every Haveli is a museum too, and Cuckoo's Den is one of them. It is housed on the Food Street Road. Although I wanted to visit the Cuckoo's Den and have the views which are famous, and you can, especially on top of the restaurant, you can have wonderful views of the Badshahi Mosque. But unfortunately, the time that we were visiting, it was closed. So off we went to the market, which has a souvenir shop, and we went inside and we looked around and bought a few souvenirs from this shop, which is adjacent to the Roshnai gate. And finally, our trip came to an end. I always want to stay more. I always would want to visit the old places that I used to visit when I first visited Lahore in 1978, like the Mughal Gardens, the Lahore Zoo, or the Lahore Museum for that matter. I would like to visit the Samadhi of Ranjit Singh along with a Sikh friend maybe one day. But Lahore somehow always requests you, pushes you to stay, and you always have to leave because you have to, get back to your life, you have to get back to your city and get on with the rest of the stuff that you have to do in life. So just like always, I had to leave with the hope that I would come back to Lahore again. But one thing that I must confess about Lahore, over the years, Lahore is not the Lahore that it used to be. Especially the old city, it has become so overpopulated, it has become so polluted. There's so many people around, toxic fumes and cars and buses and rickshaws and tongas and what have you. There's a bulge of population, and to the extent that it gets scary. But if we compare the newer Lahore with the older Lahore, it pains my heart because there's a lot of disparity. Just like Karachi, just like any other bigger city, the people who are, their houses, their places are in shambles. They are extremely poor in old Lahore. And when you go to the uppish Lahore, the newer Lahore, where you can experience the malls and everything, and the haves with their fancy cars and money to throw and the attitude and what have we. So it hurts. But again, I would like to conclude, I would like to finish this vlog by mentioning that indeed Lahore Lahore hai, aur jinne Lahore nahi vekhya, wo jamya hi nahi. So thank you very much to my listeners, my viewers, my audience. Till we meet next time with some other vlog. You take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.